Hello YouTube! Today in the Naughty Librarian, I'm bringing you a failure book haul. Originally, today's video was supposed to be my mid-month wrap-up. However, I have not been reading that much, and I realized I only read like 2 books that weren't the book club books, so I had like nothing to review pretty much. I was like, well, let's move on from there. Also, I started filming drunk classics. So this month I was saying I was gonna do Little Women, and so like I've read like 34% of the book, and like I hate it. Like I hate it so much. It causes me physical pain how much I hate it. So I feel like I might pivot, because frankly, even my hatred of this book isn't captivating enough to make it worth a video. So I'm thinking I might switch books to have it be The Winter's Tale by William Shakespeare, because it's shorter. I can kind of do it all in one day. Also, there's bears, and I was like, yes, let's have some holiday bears, and I think that might be fun to do. And if I keep going with Little Women, like, it's just gonna make me an alcoholic, because the only way I got through that book with copious amounts of wine, and the fact I don't think I can have it in me to keep going. So on that note, I have a book haul. I have been collecting a few books lately, obviously, and I figured, hey, let's talk about the books I've been getting lately, because that so far isn't a failure, even though a lot of other things are. First things first, I have Iron Kissed by Patricia Briggs, and this is book 3 of the Mercy Thompson series, and I bought this without like doing my research on it, and like that's just my life. I just do that. That's kind of my modus operandi. However, something told me I should look up like trigger warnings for this, and I did, and like I'm a bit alarmed of how graphic things get in this book, and it made me uncomfortable. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to reading this, but I do know it's probably handled well. It's quite graphic on page. And so sorry, trigger warning for sexual assault. Quite graphically on page, and it's like, oh boy, like I'm upset. So, yeah, this is just a book I have now. I don't know when I'm going to read it. I might still go for it, but like, it's a lot to unpack, and I don't know if I have it in me, but it's a good series in general. Do I recommend it? Yeah, it's like Mercy Thompson. She's a mechanic, she's a shapeshifter, she kind of finds herself embroiled in sticky situations with werewolves and fae and vampires, oh my. So it's kind of a fun paranormal romance / urban fantasy series. Obviously it's very popular. I think they're on like book 15 now, so obviously it's a good series. It's worth continuing on in. I just don't know when I'm gonna do it. I also picked up First Comes Scandal by Julia Quinn. This is a Bridgerton prequel book. There's several books in it. I think I've read like maybe one of them. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I am excited to get more Bridgerton content, even though this is like a prequel, so it's like past Bridgertons. So this is Georgiana and Nicholas. Georgiana is finding herself in a pickle. Basically, this a-hole kidnapped her for her dowry, you know, and like being alone with some man makes you ruined, so she's like, I didn't do nothing, I got kidnapped, but you know, ruined. So she's either A, gonna have to marry this a-hole, or B, just be a spinster. So not good options. And then, hey, option 3 comes along, Nicholas. Now Nicholas, childhood best friends, girl next door, boy next door situation. And he's like, Georgie, listen, I will marry the shit out of you, don't worry. And so, you know, it's not the most romantic of proposals. So Georgie says, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be your like penance wife. No, I'm not gonna be a sacrifice. And he's like, but like, why? And so they have a very unusual kind of courtship, childhood friends to lovers kind of situation, and I like that. I want a good like friends to lovers situation, and like I feel like Nicholas is gonna be cute. He's also a doctor, and I like that. I don't know. know. Sometimes these guys are a-holes too, so we'll find out. But like, so far so good. The guys haven't been that big of a-holes in Julia Quinn books, so I'm feeling okay with it. I also picked up a copy of A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, and I have been recommended this several times. I also know my friend Bethany read it, so I was like, okay. Like, it's a Hades Persephone retelling, which is not my fave. There are better myths to retell. But this one seems kind of cool. It's like similar probably to Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. So I want to see how this compares. So you have Persephone, right? She is kind of like a failure of a goddess. She cannot make anything grow. She just sucks at it. And so she's trying to just hiding out. She's like, I'm a journalist. Look at me. I'm totally human journalist. I'm a human journalist. La la la. And then you have Hades, right? And he is also in the mortal world, and he made like a fortune, an empire, so to speak, out of gambling houses. And he's like, I like to take impossible bets. So I feel like there is a wager that comes into play here between Hades and Persephone, where he like bets that she cannot produce life in the underworld, and if she fails, like, he gets her freedom or something. Like, he gets to keep her, which is like already not the best start to a relationship. But on the other hand, this is going to be smutty AF. So, like, you know, sometimes it's okay just to read things for smut. It's okay to be a perv. Speaking of ancient Greece, I also got this copy of the Iliad by Homer, and it's just kind of a cool cover. I kind of like that it's simplistic. Hopefully it's not like just a shiny ass mess on the camera, but we'll find out together. Now, I always kind of get the Iliad and the Odyssey mixed up, but hopefully I'm not wrong. I believe the Iliad is about Achilles and that kind of story. So I am excited for that. I also have a copy of Circe that I still not have read. I know, I want to read it. I know it's a fantastic book and I haven't read it, but like I want to. Although wait, Circe is not about this. Not about this at all. That's the other one. That's the Odyssey. Okay, the Iliad has Achilles, so Song of Achilles, same author. Haven't read that, but also want to read it. Oh gosh, if I do drug classics on this, it's just gonna be me being confused the whole time. Is this an Odyssey or an Iliad? Like, it's the same, but like different. I always get them so confused. But yeah, I don't know. I got this at a used bookstore for like a couple bucks, and I was like, okay, it'll be a fun drug classics if I can tell those two books apart. But like, I am interested in Achilles, and I want to read Song of Achilles, so like, it's kind of, I was just vibing on it that day. One more book I got for a future episode of Drunk Classics is Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. And I have been told many a time by Leanna from Leanna's Library that Ivanhoe is the shit. And I was like, okay. And then at the used bookstore, I got this for like a couple bucks. And I was like, okay, it's a pretty cover. I kind of like the artwork. He has like a really dope mustache. Like, look at that mustache. It's a good mustache, right? And like, his hat has so many feathers. So like, it's really kind of a fashion buy, but I am interested in it. Like, it's something with like knights and maidens and stuff. Like, I haven't really read one of those yet. So Ivanhoe, right? He's this like knight guy, and like, he returns home from the Third Crusade, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna start living my civilian life. I'm gonna marry Lady Rowena. I'm gonna get my inheritance. It's gonna be great. However, things are not that great. There's this whole fight in between kings of England. There's like Richard and John, those two brothers, and they're fighting over who's gonna be king and la la la, and he kind of gets in the middle of it, and also hangs out with Robin Hood. So like, this should be fun, right? It has Robin Hood in it. Like, honestly, I didn't know that. I did not know this had Robin Hood, and now I'm kind of really excited about it, because I want some, you know, knights and maidens and chivalry and sword fighting. I think it'll be a fun drug classics. I also got a copy of The Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller, and this was sent to me by the publisher, and I am so pumped for this. It look at the cover. Oh my gosh, it's like, it's, you know, it's like crossed fingers, hand that's bones and flowers. The cover's great. This one, we're following this woman, Charm. She's kind of the madam of a brothel, and also like, I don't know if she's like the lover of the king, but they're definitely involved. And she is like, she has like magical powers, and her people have been conquered and enslaved essentially by this king, including her. And the king's like, listen, I will give you your freedom, but you gotta solve a murder for me. By the way, it's my murder. One of my bastard sons did it. So now she has to solve the murder of the king, and by doing so, she would get her freedom somehow. I don't know how, but highly unlikely heroine. Also, you know, it's about a brothel and like maybe like the underground world, and like there's just gonna be seediness and like morally gray characters, also like bones and stuff. I think this has like a necromancy spin to it, and I'm so into this. Like, I love so many things about this book, and it comes out next March, I believe March 22nd, 2022. So pre-order it. I think this is gonna be great. I am predicting at least a 4-star read. At least. I'm hoping for 5, but like I'll settle for 4. I think it's gonna be really, really good. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Tor Books, for sending me a copy. I also got a copy of The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker, and this one sounds so cool. Like, I'm obsessed with this story. I love it. We're following Ren, and she's an interesting heroine because she's half British Reaper, half Japanese Shinigami. So she has like 2 different worlds of magic going on here. Both of them like necromancy related, death magic related. And like reaping, I'm assuming she's reaping souls, and then Shinigami is like this whole other thing. However, she's been growing up in Britain, so she doesn't really know that other side of her life. So she goes to Japan. She has got to get the heck out of Britain. So she goes, and she has to, and she's like, all right, I'm going to pledge myself to the gods of death. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. And so she has to like complete like these feats and like kill a monster, la la la. She has to, you know, make unlikely alliances along the way. And it just sounds really badass and cool. And I love it. I'm really into like the Japanese mythology part of this, and I think it's going to be really fun. I'm reading it this month. I have not started it yet, but I'm very excited for it. I also got a copy of A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. And ooh, this one seems so creepy and mysterious that I was like into it immediately. Also, like the cover, creepy and mysterious as heck. I think this might be dual timeline. I'm not 100% sure, but we start off following this guy Theo, right? And he is kind of a gifted finder of things. He might be psychic because he gets like, basically if he has an object of the person, he can find them. And he gets hired to find this woman Maggie, who was like the author of all these creepy children's books, and she went missing. So he's like, all right, I'm on the case. And then he tracks her down to like this old, like this culty community called the Pastoral, right? And then when he finds the Pastoral, he disappears too. So everybody's disappearing. Cut to now. We have Theo. He grew up in the Pastoral. He's out with his wife and his wife's sister. And like I guess he has to go back to the Pastoral for some reason, and he finds Travis's truck, and like all of these secrets come out, and it's like a creepy murder mystery. I don't know, maybe it has like a dash of like The Village by M. Night Shyamalan vibes. I'm not sure, but it's creepy and murder mystery, and like I just like the creepy vibes. Am I weird? I just like the creepy parts of this. But anyway, I actually didn't know about this book until I saw it from Book of the Month. So hey, this is like a serendipitous thing. Like, I didn't know about this book, and now I have this book. So that's kind of a fun thing that happened to me. I also got a copy of Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. And this one I got for free from Book of the Month, because if you're like a member, you get like one of the like top books of the year picks for free. So I was like, well, if it's free. But this one is so twisty-turny. It's one of those gritty kind of murder mysteries. And we're following these 2 fathers, right? And they don't really have anything in common except their sons were married to each other. And they both get killed. One more thing they actually have in common, though, is they're both ex-cons. And they're like, hey, we got criminal, like, connections. Let's figure out who killed our boys and, like, kill them back or something. I don't know. They're out for revenge, and they're gonna team up together. So I'm like, oh, so much revenge. I feel like it's also going to be making a lot of like social justice issues come to light here. It's going to be dark, and it's going to be gritty, and it's going to be maybe uncomfortable at times, but like that's why I think it's going to be good. Also, it was like on the list of best books of the year, so I was like, okay, like let's see what this is about. This is going to be gritty and dark, and I'm like kind of really into it. Okay, so that's the end of the failure book haul. I mean, the book haul itself isn't a failure, just my life is. I will start getting back on track with things, and hopefully it'll go better. Like, I do think I'm going to pivot for Drunk Classics. I can't with Little Women. I will become an alcoholic because I can't read it without copious amounts of alcohol. It is just not good for me. So I feel like I'm gonna move on. Also, like my monthly review, I won't have a mid-month review. I'll have like a monthly review for all of the books. But I have been reading less in general, so I think it'll like even out. Let me know in the comments down below. How's your reading month going this December? Mine is kind of kicking me in the butt, honestly. Like, I am not having a good go of things so far. How are you doing? I hope you're doing better than I am. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.